All right, let's go.
All right. Hey, welcome back to yet another conversation here at Road Noise. Um, Dad and I are just catching up because he's been gone doing some traveling, and it's good to have you back, Dad. And it's even though we record these on Zoom, we're just 40 minutes away from one another, and this is for me personally, I enjoy the time to catch up and hear some of these stories and work through the backlog of stories that you've got piled up. So I am really looking forward to where we're going tonight.
Yeah, I knew we had to get back tonight because this was on the calendar. But yeah, we probably put on 400 miles today. But anyway, we're back.
Yeah. Hey, that wait, it's road noise. I mean, that's to be expected.
It's it's road noise. That's pretty much what we do. So anyway, oh, but I thought let's go the opposite direction. Um, for this episode, I want to take us to pretty much the center of Iowa, right on Interstate 80. And any of you that have traveled west on 80 know that that is one long road. I mean, you get on that thing and you can go east and west for a long ways. And so we're going across Interstate 80, about halfway across to Iowa, doing the speed limit in the bus. Things are going fine. We are on schedule. Um, so, just cruising along. And all of a sudden, I felt something. I felt the bus, I don't know, it did something and it wasn't normal, but I didn't know what it was. And so I figured, well, I better check it out. And so I pulled over to the side of the road as far as I could. They're on the right hand shoulder. And when I stopped the bus, I heard something that was really a pleasant sound. I heard the engine running. It sounded good. So I'm thinking, well, whatever it is, it can't be too bad, I hope. And I put my foot on the pedal. Let's call it the gas pedal, but it's a diesel engine. But anyway, I put my foot on the pedal and pushed it down, and the noise of the engine did not change. It was exactly as it was going down the road and when I pulled over. So I'm thinking, well, what's up with this? Well, anyway, so I get out and I made my way to the back of the bus and I opened the compartment where the engine's at. They're at the back. And I know where the linkage is at that goes all the way to the front, and hooks onto the pedal. It's a series of steel rods that are connected, I don't know how many different places, but several places as it goes from the front of the bus all the way to the back. And then that steel rod eventually connects onto the engine, and that's controls the throttle. Well, anyway, so I know where that's at. And so when I get the back end of the bus open and the engine exposed, I just reached up and I grabbed that piece where the throttle ought to be, and I gave it a little pull. There was no tension on the rod. And I'm just holding the rod, and I look, and it's not attached to anything. Nothing at all. This is kind of close to being in place, but it's basically hanging in midair. I'm thinking, how could that happen? Well, so I'm looking at the engine and how this rod connects to the throttle there, and I don't know if I can explain this or not, but there's a fork that the rod goes in, and then there's a hole in the end of the rod, and there's a hole in the fork. And so you put the rod into the fork, and then you drop a pin down through the fork that goes through the rod out the bottom of the fork, and then it's held in there with a cotter pin. And so I get the rod in place as far as I bring it up to where the fork is at, thinking, how am I going to reconnect these things? And I couldn't believe what I saw. The pin that goes through the rod was still in that fork. Now it drops down from the top, and so it goes through a hole in the top of the fork and then through the rod and then out the other hole in the bottom of the fork. Now wait a minute. That pin goes through the rod. How did that rod get past the pin and the pin still be in place? I mean, that's a mystery. Anyway, so I grab a hold of the end of the pin that's at the top and I pull it and it comes right out. And so I just lifted it up far enough that I could get the rod back in there and then drop the pin back down through the hole in the rod, and it goes down through the bottom hole of that fork. Problem solved. Well, okay, typically, like I said, there's a cotter pin that holds the pin in, and there was no cotter pin anywhere. But I'm thinking, how did that pin release the rod? It had to come up out of that hole far enough that the rod could slip out, but then instead of it vibrating or bouncing out or whatever it was doing, once the rod was out, it fell right straight back down. Why didn't that pin get lost along Interstate 80 somewhere? I have no idea. Well, anyway, so I go back to the front of the bus and I asked your mom for a safety pin. And she had one, so I took the safety pin back and I put that through the hole of the pin that holds the rod and left that safety pin in there. I'll tell you this, we drove thousands of miles with that safety pin still in that other pin that held that rod. I left that safety pin there as a constant reminder that every time I saw that safety pin, it reminded me how something that I could not explain happened on our way down Interstate 80. Now, I don't know. I'm thinking, did someone pull that pin up out of there and then let the rod out and then drop the pin back in? Was it someone or something? Perhaps an angel, I don't know, pulled that pin out so that the rod would come loose, knowing that we would not be able to go another foot down the road until it was reconnected. And it didn't take very long, but I've often wondered if that delay saved us from something. If there was something on down the road that maybe we would have been in an accident, maybe we would have got hurt or hurt somebody else. Why that delay? Simple fix, short delay, but why? And how that pin ever got loose and fell back in the hole is still a mystery to me to this day. All that to say, I'm reminded of Psalm 91, verse 11. For he will command his angels concerning you to guard you in all your ways.
Yeah.
I can't explain what it was. I'll never know on this side of heaven. But whatever it was a mystery. But we're back on the road again.
Yeah. Simple fix. And yeah. And who knows, right? Who knows what that delay was for? As you were beginning to tell the story, Dad, I thought you were going to phone a friend from Alaska.
Harold Weiss.
Weiss knows how to take care of this diesel issue.
It wouldn't have been the first phone call to him.
You're right. Yeah, no, because I think that's one of the first bus stories you shared with us when you're on your way up to Alaska and had to call in a favor and have him help you out.
Well,
regular old bus mechanic though, so.
Yeah. When this happened, this was before cell phone days, and there was no place to call Harold along the side of the interstate right there.
Yeah.
At least when I had to call him when we were in Alaska for some help, we were at a place where there was a payphone.
Yeah. A what?
Oh, well. Yeah, so such is life on the road.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but that rod going through that fork, and I mean, it just amazes me.
Yeah, it's a mystery.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So, I wonder if any of the listeners or those that are watching have had some strange things happen in their life that they really can't explain. But I mean, the only thing you can look at is must have been the hand of God that
Yep.
did whatever it was.
Yep. And this is just for funds. I'm doing a reading through the Bible this year again, and today's reading was Psalm 91.
And we hadn't talked about that before we started recording or anything
No.
else. It seems like that's happened in the past.
Yep. It's not the first
Yeah, I
time.
think just God's little wink, as people call it.
Yep.
Yeah, He's aware and directs our path. Yeah, well, here we are along Interstate 80. But do you know why the cake crossed the road?
Why would a cake need to cross the road? I don't know.
Because there was a fork ahead.
No.
I don't know if that fork had a rod that went through it or anything,
Right.
but I just thought that story was appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, here we are. We're headed west on the interstate, and we were on our way to do meetings. But do you know where surfers go for an education?
No, no.
Boarding school.
Ugh. Yep. That sounds
Okay,
right.
let's go on farther down the road. Or park it for now.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good to me. And hey, we'll look forward to picking this up again next week.